Hello students! Welcome to another fun of learning. Welcome to our quarter 4 science lesson, and I'm your grade 10 science teacher, Mrs. Marijoy ISMS. Our lesson for today is about biomolecules. What are biomolecules? Biomolecules is any of numerous substances that aid produces by cells and any living organism. We have different types of biomolecules. The first one is proteins, the second one is nucleic acid, the third one is lipids, and the last one is the carbohydrates. Those are the different types of biomolecules which perform different range of functions. Carbohydrates are the most abundant class of biomolecules. They are known to be the chief energy source of all living organisms because they are the most important and readily available source of energy, that they are the main source of energy for our body. Also, carbohydrates are probably the most abundant organic substances in nature, and they are essential constituents of all living things such as wood, starch, and linen, are found to be mainly molecules containing carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Under carbohydrates, we have micromolecule and macromolecules. And under micromolecule, we have monosaccharides. And under macromolecules, we have disaccharides and polysaccharides. Let's talk about first monosaccharides. We have monosaccharides. Mono means one and saccharide means sweet. Monosaccharides, simple sugar. And glucose is the most important monosaccharides in nature since it provides the immediate source of energy of the body cells and tissues. Excess glucose is often stored as starch that is catabolized or break down by humans and other animals that feed on plants. We have the other one, galactose, which is found in milk, and fructose, which is found in fruit sugar. Second one, we have disaccharides. Disaccharides contain two monosaccharides undergo a dehydration reaction, also known as condensation reaction. Units joined together by a covalent bond known as glycosidic linkage. Maltose and lactose are the other disaccharides glucose. Maltose are example of disaccharides between two glucose, which is commonly found in grains and cereals, while maltose is also known as malt sugar, while lactose is also known as milk sugar. Carbohydrates that contain 10 monosaccharides units are called polysaccharides. It is a long chain of monosaccharides linked by glycosidic bonds. Poly means many. The chain may be branched or unbranched and may contain different types of monosaccharides. Example of polysaccharides are starch, which is stored form of sugar in plants. Starch in the seeds provides food for embryo as it germinates and can also act as a source of food for humans and animals. Next example is glycogen, which is the storage form of glucose in humans and other vertebrates, and it's made up of monomers of glucose. It is the animal equivalent of starch, and it's a highly branched molecule, usually stored in liver and muscle cells. Let's now talk about lipids. Lipids are biomolecules that contain hydrocarbons and make up the building blocks of structure and functions of living cells. Lipids are water-insoluble molecules that are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. We have different examples of lipids that includes fats and oils, waxes, and certain vitamins such as vitamins A, D, E, and K, hormones. Now let's talk about the third biomolecules, which are proteins. Proteins are the primary building materials of the body. Our hair, skin, muscles, and organs are composed mostly of proteins. Proteins are strong yet flexible and have a complex 3D structure. Protein are made of hundreds and thousands of smaller units called amino acid, which are attached to one another in a long chains, and that chains of amino acids are called peptides. We have different functions of proteins. The first one is, it is a structural component of our skin, hair, muscle that provide structure and support for cells on a larger scale. They also allow the body to move, collagen in mammals, and that gives the skin strength and elasticity. The second function is chemical messenger hormones. Any compound that serve to transmit a message, such as hormones that transmit signal to coordinate biological processes between different cells, tissues, and organs, such as testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormones. This messenger proteins is very important during feedback mechanism to maintain homeostasis in our body. It is also disease defense antibodies that bind to specific foreign particles such as viruses and bacteria to help protect the body and in strengthening our immune system. Enzyme catalyst lactase are typically proteins are biologically molecules that significantly speed up the rate of virtuality all the chemical reaction that take place within cells. Examples are amylase, which is present in saliva of humans and some other mammals. It catalyzes starch into small sugars, meaning it speeds up the breakdown of starch into simple form. Transport storage protein, those are proteins that bind and carry atoms. And now let's move on the fourth type of biomolecules. The building blocks of living organism are the nucleic acid. They are responsible in encoding, transmitting, and expressing genetic information. Nucleic acid are the genetic material of the cell and are composed of recurring monomeric units called nucleotides. A nucleotide has three components: a phosphoric acid molecule, phosphate, the circle one, a 5-carbon sugar molecule, the pentagon, and a molecule of nitrogen-containing base is the rectangle. And there are two types of nucleic acid. Those are deoxyribonucleic acid or DNA, found mainly in the cell nuclei, contains the genetic information that codes for the sequences of amino proteins, and the ribonucleic acid or the RNA is found in many places in the cell and carry out the synthesis of proteins. They differ in sugar content. RNA contains the sugar ribose, while DNA contains sugar known as deoxyribose. Now, let's analyze this table and let's answer different questions. The first question is, which biomolecules does not provide energy for an organism? It is nucleic acid. Since nucleic acid are not considered nutrients, nucleic acid are the cells contains two types, the ribonucleic acid and the deoxyribonucleic acid. They differ from other nutrients in that they are not source of energy in your diet. Their only role is to direct the synthesis of new protein molecules. Thus, nucleic acid do not provide a bulk energy for an organism, so they are not nutrients. Second question is, what are the biomolecules that provide energy for an organism? The first biomolecules is carbohydrates. Those are compounds such as sugars and starches that they are important nutrients since the cells use them as a source of energy. The next one is proteins that can make up majority of biomolecules present in a cell. They are responsible for many enzymic functions in the cell and play an important structural role. And the last one is lipids, are triglycerides of long-chain fatty acids and the major components of cell membranes. Those are the biomolecules hold an incredible amount of energy, so they act as energy storage molecules. The third one is, what biomolecules is the most abundant? So since I tackled earlier, carbohydrates are the most abundant class of biomolecules because they are known to be the chief energy source of all living organisms. So the last one is, what is the most important biomolecule? All of the molecules are important, so your answer may vary. Truly, biomolecules are important for the functioning of living organisms. Those molecules perform or trigger important biochemical reactions in living organisms. When studying biomolecules, one can understand the psychological function that regulates the proper growth and development of human body. And that's all for today, students. I hope you learn and enjoy your lesson for today. Till our next lesson, God bless us.